do a quick presentation. It's only gonna take 2-3 hours, and then you guys can go. No, I'm joking. I'll try to keep it to 15 minutes. I'll try. So we're gonna talk about Arcadia District today, obviously. Before we talk about the project, something that's really important to understand is who you're doing business with, right? Like ultimately, the company that you're buying real estate from has to deliver on what they promised you, and you want to know who stands behind that promise. EllisDon, for those of you who may not be familiar, is one of the top 5 largest construction firms in all of North America, largest construction firm in Canada. Been in the business for over 70 years, over 4,000 employees, with $5 billion worth of annual revenue. We'll play a quick game here now together. How many of you have heard of the company EllisDon before, by a show of hands? Look around the room. How many of you? Okay, almost everyone. How many of you accept the agents? How many of you can name any building that EllisDon had built in this room? Except the agent. Yes.
Rogers Center?
Rogers Center, that's one. Anyone else? Okay, you stop. He's working with EllisDon. So here we go. That was actually the biggest disconnect that we had to contend with, was that everybody knows the brand. Very few people actually know what EllisDon has built. So what we're going to do in the next few slides is we're going to show you that EllisDon built buildings that you, your family members, your friends are walking in and out of almost every single day. You don't believe me? Watch. Culture and Recreation. Skydome, built by EllisDon. Roy Thompson Hall enhancements by EllisDon. Art Gallery of Ontario by EllisDon. Toronto Raptors training facility by EllisDon. On the healthcare front, EllisDon builds almost 80% of the hospitals in the province. Whether you live in Brampton, in Toronto, in Sault Ste. Marie, in Sudbury, or wherever you live, the hospital in your neighborhood is probably built by EllisDon. Educational institutions as well. For those of you who went to universities or had kids or friends that went to colleges, Seneca College, built by EllisDon. York University School of Schulich School of Business by EllisDon. George Brown Campus. U of T Scarborough, U of T Mississauga, McMaster University, Lakehead University, Toronto Metro University, which is Ryerson, Centennial College, Ivy School of Business in London, all built by EllisDon. Go Rail expansions, you can see everything from the Lakeshore West expansions to Stouffville Corridor, Rutherford Station, Cooksville Go, even the tunnels under the 401, all being built by EllisDon. Eglinton LRT, Ottawa LRT, Edmonton Valley LRT, all built by EllisDon. Most of the office buildings in the financial centers are built by EllisDon as well. And on the retail side, I don't know if any of you have heard of these little community malls, but is anyone here familiar with Yorkdale Mall? No? No one? Ask my wife. My wife knows it inside out. Square One, Vaughan Mills Mall, Markville Shopping Center, Fairview Mall, Shops of Don Mills, all built by EllisDon as well. So you're dealing with a developer, one of the most trusted, one of the best well-known Canadian builders in Canada's history. But they don't only build commercial, they also specialize in residential. Every morning when you wake up, you should know that EllisDon has 23,000 condos under construction every day, right? For other developers. Some of those buildings include, if you're familiar with King Toronto by Westbank, King is probably one of the most complicated residential construction projects in Canada, being built by EllisDon. The Well by RioCan, built by EllisDon. Forma just started construction by Great Golf, being built by EllisDon. M-City, every single phase from phase 1 to 5, all built by EllisDon. Concord City Place, Brightwater, the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, the list goes on and on here, guys. And just to be clear, the projects that we're showing you here today, it's not everything that they've done. It's literally a drop in the bucket. Under construction, I told you they have 23,000 residential condo units under construction, over $10 billion worth of current residential inventory under construction, 30.7 million square feet of residential under construction. Commercial and retail, over $12 billion of active office completed and under construction right now. Guys, listen to this stat. Just pay attention for 1 second. Over 1,000 commercial and office projects completed, right? Do you know any other builder that has that kind of track record? I'm not even talking about residential. This is just commercial and office. $3 billion of retail under construction right now. On the corporate side, you guys recognize that place? That's Pearson Airport. Also being built by EllisDon. $40 billion worth of sustainable projects already delivered. $5 billion in annual completions and $16 billion in the backlog, construction backlog. And that's something that we have to contend with. The reality is that we're having a severe crisis in our ability to deliver and build enough housing units for the amount of people that we needed. That's just the reality. Most families that have kids send their kids off to university to get a degree. Very few kids go into the trades, and we need trades to build, and we need them now more than ever. In the next 6 years, the construction industry predicts that over 500,000 trades will retire. How are we ever going to replace those jobs? EllisDon has completed globally, so that you can see on a global scale the kind of developer that you're dealing with. Starting with Dubai Hills Estate, it's a brand new 75 million square feet community. It's a new suburb in Dubai, $10 billion project value, okay? Includes everything from villas to buildings to parks to school to retail to office, even their own transit system, all built by EllisDon. Atlantis at the Palm, the five-star resort in Dubai, $1.5 billion structure built by EllisDon. Jumeirah Village, also in Dubai, $1.4 billion project built by EllisDon. This is actually one of my favorite, Kiosk Hydroelectric. The reason why I love this one is because it's so complicated. This is built in Manitoba. It's actually the province of Manitoba's biggest infrastructure investment in their history. It's a $1.4 billion infrastructure investment. The province wanted to build a new electric station at the bottom of the lower Nelson River in Manitoba, okay? To build this, what EllisDon had to do is they had to take a 23-kilometer river, reroute its natural path, build the hydroelectric station, and route the river back into its natural path, and build a 50 square kilometer lake on the other side of it, right? Now, Kiosk is providing electricity to 400,000 homes in the province. This is the kind of builder, this is the kind of developer you're hopefully going to be doing business with. Oakridge redevelopment, which is the largest residential development project in Vancouver's history, being built by EllisDon. All of the new Portland infrastructure lands that are ongoing, all built by EllisDon as well. And a little fun fact, the Canadian Army just committed, the Canadian government just committed to buying a new fleet of F-35s jet airplanes. EllisDon was selected and received the highest security clearance by the Canadian Army to build the new training and housing facility for the new jet fighter airplanes, right? So the top producers, this is for the agents, the top producers in the project, we're going to take you for a ride in an F-35. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. If you recorded that on your phone, delete that. To Dubai. Now, EllisDon are proven winners as well. I didn't want to bother to list all the construction-related awards that they won. We'd be here all day. I wanted to focus on the culture, the type of business that they operate. EllisDon is named one of the top 100 employers in Canada, one of the top 50 greenest employers for their green approach to construction, one of Greater Toronto's top employers, top 10 most admired cultures in Canada, corporate cultures in Canada. Something really interesting happened in EllisDon about 3 years ago. For the first almost 70 years of ownership, EllisDon was actually owned by a single family, by the Smith family. Over the last 3 years, the Smith family had shifted the ownership, and the company is now 100% employee owned, right? That means that whether you're the person cleaning the floors at EllisDon, the person changing a light bulb in EllisDon, or the person sitting on top of a crane for EllisDon, you are a part owner of the company. And what that means is that now you have perfect alignment with the place that you work at, right? Because if you own your own business, you're more likely to work hard to do the best you can, because your year-end bonus ties right into the profitability of the company because you're a part owner. And that's what EllisDon has shifted their ownership structure to be. Every employee is now an owner. Let's talk for a second about immigration and population. Canada as well. Last year we received 100 new immigrants to Canada. About 35 to 40% of them make the GTA their home. Canada has the fastest population growth rate out of all G7 nations, right? It took us 26 years to go from 30 million people to 40 million people in Canada. Statistics Canada now anticipates it would take us 20 years to go from 40 to 50 million people. Our growth here is at a very high pace, and we just cannot build enough homes. That's why we're experiencing the affordability crisis that we're dealing with right now. Toronto has a population of about 3 million people. The CMA has a population of about 6.4 million people, making the GTA the 6th most populous metropolitan center in North America. And we're still expecting it to grow by another 16% in the next 7 years. What a lot of people don't know, though, is that Etobicoke is actually one of the largest population centers in the GTA, and there's very little development activity happening here right now. If you look at this chart, this lists out for you the top GTA population centers and where Etobicoke ranks. Mississauga and Brampton are the largest one, and Etobicoke is actually the 3rd largest. Markham and Vaughan are even smaller. The interesting statistic is right at the bottom here. For those of you who can't see, I'll tell you. In the next 7 years, Etobicoke is expected to grow by almost 100,000 people. We're not building enough homes. We're also surrounded by a lot of really great employment opportunities because we're surrounded by the 3 major employment hubs of the GTA. The biggest one being downtown Toronto with over 550,000 jobs. The second one is Mississauga with over 450,000 jobs. A lot of people don't know the Pearson Economic Zone employs 400,000 people. That's 10 minutes away from us. So you have over 1.4 million jobs within 20 minutes or less from Arcadia District. Next is transit. Transit is a huge driver in real estate values, massive, especially in a city that is losing affordability by the day. Young professionals cannot afford they can no longer afford to live downtown. They're seeking out other communities, but the connectivity to downtown is very important because many of them still work there, still socialize there. Let's have actually a quick question here, but just guess. We're living on the Kipling Station Transit Hub, right? Kipling Station Transit Hub has the subway in it, has the GO Rail train station in it, and has a major bus terminal in it with 15 different bus routes. And on top of that, there's an express shuttle to Humber College and an express shuttle to the Pearson Airport Economic Zone. That's how well connected you are at Arcadia District, right? Fun fact, the Kipling Station was built a few years ago, completed a few years ago. Let's play a game. I'm going to count to 3. When I get to 3, you guess who built Kipling Station. 1, 2, 3. Have you guys seen this before? EllisDon built Kipling Station, and that's when we started realizing the potential that this neighborhood has. This is what it looks like. When you come out of these doors, immediately to your right, you'll see a Chevy sign that says truck shop. That's Arcadia District. That's the future site. And when you come out of that door, you'll see a bridge on the left side. Right under that bridge is the subway station. That's how close we are to it. It's a 400-meter walk. When the project is actually constructed, there's going to be a direct pathway that leads into the subway station and the transit hub. The unique thing, though, about our transit hub is that We are the only major transit hub outside of downtown Toronto that has all three major modes of transportation. One is the subway, one is GO Train, and the third one is the GO Train. No bus terminal, no subway. If you look at Yonge and Eglinton, they have the subway bus terminal, no GO Train. If you look at Markham, they don't have the subway. Mississauga City Centre, no subway. Vaughan City Centre, no GO Train. We are the only major transit hub that has all three, except downtown Toronto, but we're trading at a 33% discount to downtown Toronto. So the opportunity here is real. Which leads us to the next section. You need to be incredibly, whether you're an agent or a buyer here today with us, you need to be incredibly selective in what you invest right now, because there is a lot of projects launching. Very few are worth investing in. That's the reality. We want your focus this fall. If you are a sophisticated, experienced investor or you're a first-time investor, we want you to focus on finding opportunities that have actual upside, right? Which brings us to something major. A big part of the story here is the growth plan. The province of Ontario sets out in a written form a report that identifies which parts of Ontario we're going to see growth in. It's very simple. It's very simple. When the province identifies which areas are going to get the growth, that's where all the infrastructure and our taxpayers' dollars are going into. Nothing else. They've identified 5, they call it a growth center, they've identified 5 growth centers in Toronto. One of them is Scarborough, and the reason we didn't list Scarborough here is just because there isn't much development activity there right now. The other 4 are downtown Toronto, North York City Centre, Yonge and Eglinton Centre, and Etobicoke City Centre, which is where Arcadia is, right? Look at the prices below. Arcadia is going to launch at an average in the low $1,200 per square foot. Again, a 33% discount to what you're seeing in downtown. The reason why this provincial plan is so important is because when the province identifies an area, there's no doubt that the growth is going to come. Anyone here familiar with M City in Mississauga or Vaughan City Centre? Yeah. Do you remember those areas 15 years ago? They were just fields. M City was a mall. Today, prices are so high and the area is flourishing. Why? Do you think that happened by coincidence? No. The province defined in their reporting that that's where they want the growth to go. In Etobicoke, not every part of Etobicoke is in the city center plan. The only part in Etobicoke that's in the city center plan is actually the strip along Bloor between Kipling and Islington. That's it, right? I know there's a few projects coming out on the Queensway, for example. If you drive on the Queensway in 10 years, there's going to be a lot more projects, but zero new infrastructure, because that's not where the province wants it to go. If you're investing in Etobicoke City Centre, in 10 years you're going to be driving through Bloor Street and it's going to look completely different. Why? Because that's where the province wants the growth to go. They have a 5-layer plan to get that growth coming. Number 1, they've committed to investing in infrastructure. They're even moving Etobicoke Civic Center, so the Etobicoke, call it the Etobicoke Town Hall. They're moving it into Bloor and Kipling, right beside us, bringing 2,500 jobs. They want to invest in a vibrant community. Vibrant community means they want to invest in new parks, new community centers, new skating rinks, new public benefit projects. All of that is going to come in. Next, they want to see an investment in future jobs. So they're bringing in their civic center, that's 2,500 new jobs. Employers follow. The province is kind of filtering all the growth in here. The more people live here, the more the population rises, more businesses open, more jobs are created. Next is the transit orientation. Unlike other communities that are saying, transit is coming, By here, we're going to be on the Ontario line that's going to be ready in 20 years. By there, we're going to be on whatever line that's going to be ready in 10 years. You're buying in an area where the transit is already a fact of matter. It's here. You don't have to wait. You buy today, you get on the subway tomorrow. Finally, they want to see a rise in demand because of this population growth. All of this really translates into an opportunity. And I'll ask you here, Guys, when do you think is the best time in investing in an opportunity like this? Is it now before any of that growth happens, or is it in 10 years after all that growth has been captured? The time is now. And I know it may not seem like a great time to invest because maybe the economy is a little bit slower, inflation is a bit high, but when you're talking about pre-con, this is actually the prime time to invest. It's the best time to invest because you're buying in a high interest rate environment, and by the time the condo closes, you're riding the interest rate down. And what happens to real estate values when interest rate drops? They go up or down? Up. Very simple. You have 4 or 5 years to wait before this happens. You're riding that wave. The future growth is not in question. Within a 1 kilometer circle from our site, there's 10,000 units coming and 27,000 new residents. Within a 2.5 kilometer radius from our site, 23,000 units coming and 60,000 residents and over 35 projects. Guys, this growth is coming. Don't wait. The reason I say there's no inventory here right now is because the last building to be completed in Etobicoke City Center was 2018. The most recent building to be completed before 2018 was 2014. There's no inventory. There's only one building in Etobicoke City Center under construction. Talk about values for a second. You see these numbers, 1,600 per square foot, 1,550, 1,450, 1,200. These are the sale numbers, the average sale numbers for pre-construction in downtown Toronto, Yonge and Eglinton, North York City Center. The rents are the red bars. You can see Etobicoke City Center gets almost the same rents as downtown Toronto, Yonge and Eglinton, and North York City Center. But when you're buying, you're saving 33% on the price as opposed to buying in Toronto, 29% on the price as opposed to buying in Yonge and Egg, and 21% on the price as opposed to buying in North York City Center. Look at the rents though. Downtown, you're paying 33% more, you're only getting 12% more in rent. It's not money well spent. Investors only care about two things. Number one is appreciation. Number two is rental yield. Why? The rental yield is important because that determines how much they pay out of pocket or not until that appreciation comes in. So you want to find an opportunity that has both, and this is it. Even when you compare us to opportunities in the GTA, not even in Toronto, Mississauga, Vaughan, Markham, we're a Toronto project on major transit, and we're priced like a suburban project. Our rents are equivalent to all of these markets or better, but our price is lower than all of these markets or better. And then finally, we're talking about supply and demand. This is what it looks like in a graph form. The red bars are units available for rent right now. The gray bars are units available for sale right now. Right now in downtown Toronto, you have over 2,400 units available for sale and rent. In Mississauga City Center, about 400. These are available units for rent. Just scroll all the way to the end here. There's about 75 units for sale and rent combined in Etobicoke City Center. Hardly any inventory. Higher education institutions were around 6 major higher education institutions. U of T downtown, 18 minutes away. U of T Mississauga, 16 minutes away. Toronto Metro University, the former Ryerson, is 18 minutes away. Sheridan College, Mississauga campus, and then Humber College, both the North and the Lakeshore campus. Altogether, there's an enrollment of 160,000 students. 44,000 of them are international. Between all of these students, there are only 10,000 residence units offered by these universities. So even from a student perspective, we need that housing. And then we just want you to capture that growth by investing early. Etobicoke has already proven itself to grow at a higher pace than downtown Toronto and midtown Toronto by 64% and 119% over the past 5 years. But on the rental side, our rents here are climbing quicker than these 7 submarkets. Toronto West, Toronto East, Toronto Central, Mississauga, Vaughan, Peel, and York. Rents in Etobicoke City Center are actually growing at a higher rate than all of these. Finally, we want to introduce a really cool partnership. In this project, EllisDon has partnered with SMEG. You can see the model kitchen. By the way, guys, just so you know, we really rushed to finish the sales center for today. There's still some tweaks that need to happen. So it's not 100% perfect, but we really wanted to give you a preview before we open formally. So EllisDon partnered with SMEG. SMEG is a luxury Italian kitchen appliance manufacturer. All the appliances made in Italy. A partnership of this kind is very unique. They've never partnered with a residential developer in North America. This is the first time ever. And to be clear, they partner with real global brands. They have an annual appliance line where they partner with Dolce & Gabbana, which sells out pretty much annually. They've partnered up with Vogue. They've partnered up with Supreme, Disney, Fiat, Lavazza, and many other great brands. So they've selected to join for their first partnership ever. They've selected Arcadia District, which means that every kitchen in Arcadia District will get full SMEG appliances. Exactly what you see here on the screen in front of you. Okay? That's a big deal. For the most part, for many developers, the kitchen is an afterthought. For us, it's the focal point because the kitchen is the heartbeat of the house, of your home. People congregate in the kitchen, talk in the kitchen, spend time in the kitchen. We want to make sure that you have statement pieces in the kitchen. The line that we're going to use is called the SMEG Classical line. And the reason why I love that line is there's a famous designer and architect in Italy. His name is Mr. Guido Canali. Canali has been partnering with SMEG on designing the Classical line since the 1980s. And all of the units in Arcadia District will feature the SMEG Classical line in partnership with Canali. Finally, if there's anything I want you to take away from here, Etobicoke City Center, Arcadia District, the one word that summarizes all of it is growth. And what does growth mean? It means development. We're expecting 23,000 units in a 2.5 kilometer radius. It means employment with 1.4 million jobs in a 15-minute commute. It means transit with the transit hub right outside your door, the population increase, the infrastructure growth, the prices going up, the rents going up, the values on the increase and the potential on the rise. All of that, and the most important part, you get to invest alongside one of the most trusted brands in Canadian real estate and maybe North American real estate. The master plan can be 4 towers, scaling back down, and then on the east side, we have a new park. Now, when you drive to the site, you're going to see this railway that's cutting between where the park will be and where our east building will be. Just so you know, that railway is no longer an operational railway, okay? When we build that park, we're going to find a way to integrate it into the public spaces. First phase, 34 stories, 405 units. The community includes everything from daycares to over 60,000 square feet of amenities, an amazing, an incredible retail offering, a public promenade. 34 stories is the first phase with 405 units. The agents in the room have gotten this floor plate to show your clients. If you haven't, please speak to our team. We're happy to share it with you as well. I'll leave it up on the screen.